My name is Karen Ronninghall, and I am your neighborhood preparedness evangelist. So tonight we'll be talking about go bags and emergency supplies as you're preparing for a disaster. This program is brought to you tonight by Cedar Hills Ready and Quake Up. Our mission is to create caring, connected, and resilient neighborhoods. We are committed to making sure that every neighbor is prepared and has the best chance of survival in the event of a disaster. So welcome. We have invited people not only from my neighborhood in Cedar Hills, but also from neighborhoods across the Portland metropolitan area. And that's because Cedar Hills Ready isn't just about my neighborhood. It's about yours too. It's a movement to connect neighbors with each other because there is strength and it's a lot more fun to do this together. We're making our content freely available to everyone. So feel free to share this information with all of your important people. All right, this program is part of an ongoing series. Most of our meetings are on the third Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Our next month, we're going to focus on emergency food and cooking in a disaster. Topics are subject to change depending on speaker availability. We're going to be covering a lot of information today in a very short period of time. So you may want to take notes, but don't worry about writing everything down because you'll have access to the slides, the lists, and the presentation, a whole bunch of additional resources. We make our great Get Prepared Now booklet available to you free on our website. Thank you to Barbara Bracken and the Tualatin Ready program for the original material that went into our Get Prepared Now. This presentation is a product of the efforts of your neighbors and community members and leaders. I want to thank a few members from the Cedar Hills Quake Up team who have worked on creating this program. Starting with me, the ringleader for Cedar Hills Ready. Barbara Bracken is our speaker tonight, and she is the Tualatin Ready program manager. Stan Hausman is going to be tracking your chat comments and leading the Q&A session at the end of today's meeting. He's the founder of Quake Up and the master of disaster. He manages the website. Bill Hall, my partner, is a co-founder of Cedar Hills Ready, and he is a member of Beaverton CERT, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. Lincoln Thomas is our Cedar Hills Ready neighborhood coordinator. He is also our monthly newsletter editor. Judy Janowitz has been a Beaverton CERT for many years, and she coordinates the Waterhouse Neighborhood Ready program. And former City Councilwoman Kate Arnold is getting involved in Beaverton's Neighbor Ready efforts, so she's our timer for the meeting. We're always looking for new input. If you're interested in joining our efforts, please contact us at info.cedarhillsready@gmail.com. It's right there at the bottom of the screen. So here is the agenda. Last month, we talked about water, sanitation, and hygiene. Making sure you have enough water is one of the most important things you can do for planning for a disaster. Today, we're going to focus on go bags and emergency supplies, using 4 different disaster scenarios to help you think about what you may need. These will be interactive sessions where you'll have an opportunity to contribute. Our speaker, Barbara Bracken, will lead us in these scenarios in a few minutes. At the end of the meeting, we'll have a Q&A session, which may go past 8 o'clock. So feel free to leave at the end, of the formal presentation if all of your questions have been answered. So Barbara?
Thank you, Karen, and welcome everybody. I wish we were out in a park on this beautiful evening, and here we are. And I hope the information provided this evening will encourage you to complete several important tasks in your steps to be ready for different kinds of potential emergencies and disasters. I have many items suggested here on lists, and extended information is available to you free of charge on the Quake Up website. Again, don't feel like you need to write everything down. A lot is there, but you may want to take some notes. We've got lots to cover, so let's get started. Our first slide, you're going to be looking at our basic underbed kit. Every person in your home needs an underbed kit. And if you have a guest room, please make one for that room as well. Why? Because you spend almost 8 hours a day. The fact is, the vast majority of injuries that happen in an earthquake don't come directly from the earthquake itself, but from fire and broken glass. The reason to have this kit of immediate supplies under your bed is that you generally spend about a third of your day, and this is the easiest place to reach if something happens in the dark and you're disoriented. Where? So if you have slick hardwood floors, tie it to the bed legs. You don't want it to move around. How and what goes in your underbed kit? So here are the components. For your head, a hard hat or a bike helmet. If you have kids, have them decorate it with stickers. Purchase a good quality hard hat, not the $6 version. The problem is the webbing on the inside of it doesn't hold up. Eye protection, goggles or glasses. Face masks, KN95s or a 3-layer fabric mask. Hands, leather palmed gloves. This is no place for your vinyl garden gloves. And ladies, we found some smaller ones that fit our hands at Bimart or online. For your feet, sturdy closed-toed shoes. You might be walking on glass. This is no place for flip-flops. We recommend a hands-free flashlight and certainly not candles. A whistle. The point here is if you needed to signal for help, you're not going to breathe in as much air with a whistle, and you would be taking in less particulate matter. A bottle of water. Note in the corner, the very corner, you're going to see a little thing that says help or okay. That's a sign that's part of an insert in the Cedar Hills Ready booklet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically what you want to do is take that out, download that booklet, take that out and attach a couple of Band-Aids. The idea is to put it up in your front window or your door for your search and rescue team. This kit is easy to assemble. Have it put together for every resident in your home as soon as possible. Next week, if possible. Remember to include a kit for any frequent guests. And then, once you've made one, make one, give one. After you complete your kit, make one for a gift. Birthday, anniversary, Mother's Day, Father's Day is coming up, Grandparents and Kids Day. Okay, let's do our first scenario where you have the opportunity to contribute and customize your own list. Imagine this. It's 1 a.m. Everyone is in bed. We're having a 9.0 earthquake. It's pitch black. Everything is shaking. You can hear glass breaking and your alarms are going off. What would you do first? We all know this part. If you're in bed, stay in bed. Cover your head with a pillow and hold on. Wait for the initial shaking to stop. You do not want further damage to you. What would you need to safely do to check on your kids or move around the house? In addition to the basics, here are some of our ideas that you might need. Extra glasses, hearing aids. Here's an idea. Velcro a case on your bedstand so that these items don't go flying across your room. Your cell phone nearby. Outdoor clothes, depending on what you sleep in or not. Small crowbar. If you sleep with doors closed, your doors may jam. Know who is responsible for what, who checks on who shuts off the utilities. Enter your ideas now in the chat box. We'll give you a moment to do that.
So we're getting some feedback. Someone said a Cliff Bar, a dog leash if you have a dog, extra glasses, key phone numbers to call. Where might you find a small crowbar? We'll talk about that later. Slip on those closed-toe clogs. leash and carrier for pets. Automatic gas shutoff devices can be placed where gas comes into the house. Awesome, Trish. Medications, washcloths, hand towel, house keys. Oh, that's actually a really good idea. House keys. All right, battery run radio.
These are some great ideas, everybody. Thank you for collecting these. Remember, you may want to take some notes along, but we've got some lists as well. Next, let's go to some go bag fundamentals. After an emergency, you may need to survive on your own for several days. A disaster supply kit is a collection of basic items your household members may need in an event of emergency. The go bag or kit you create should reflect your own personal needs, and you should know how to use everything in it. You need access to emergency supplies no matter where you are 24/7. You never know where or when a disaster may strike. So you need to prepare for work, school, in your car, or home. Take time to research emergency plans for your work, your kids' school, adult living facilities for your parents, caregivers. Know how and understand their plan, their responsibilities, and who are their contacts. First, let's be clear about your mission. Think about, what do you need to do? Do you need to evacuate, get home, set up your emergency communication? What conditions might you be in? Weather, terrain, your physical fitness level. It's important to be realistic about this. And how long might you need it? Let's talk about organizing your supplies. You may have many of the suggested items already in your home. It's a matter of gathering them in one place. Every person and family has different preparedness needs. Seniors and special need folks, you may want roller bags. Some people purchase pre-made emergency kits, but be aware of expiration dates. We're going to talk about purchasing a bag a little bit later. Others build one or more bags on their own using an off-the-shelf school backpack to store their supplies. But with only one compartment, all your stuff just is dumped in, kind of like a lady's purse. Locating what you need involves wading through layers and layers. Supplies on the bottom get crushed, and bags are often too heavy to carry. Everyone needs a go bag. Note all the many different types and designs of bags. When organizing your emergency bag, consider some of the following. A high capacity backpack with multiple built-in storage compartments and modular pouches with clear tops for quick and easy identification. If you need more supplies than will fit in a single backpack, add a duffel bag to add your additional items. I tend to overpack and will be wearing two backpacks, one on my front and one on my back. For households with 3 or more family members, consider organizing your supplies by person. Next, label each bag with their name and store all of their needs in it, including medications and personal items. Add a personal container, like a pouch, to your emergency kit for each young family member. Keep emergency supplies for infants in their own dedicated baby duffel. Their preparedness needs change monthly in terms of food, diaper sizes, etc. You'll want to be able to update their items more frequently than other family members. For growing children, pack their clothing 1 or 2 sizes larger that grow so fast. Have a separate bag for pets. I have made a suggested item list specifically for infants, children, and pets, and they will be available on the QuakeSite website. Okay, let's be a little bit more specific, and we'll do a scenario to help you think of your specific needs. Let's talk about your 1 to 2 day pack. sometimes known as work or school go bags. Here's the deal. You may need to be prepared to shelter in place for 24 hours. Because of temperature swings, food and water will need to be rotated more often. I recommend you avoid expensive items in this bag. You also will need to review and repack it seasonally. I recommend spring and again in the fall. Here's your minimum list. Again, your head. But now, not only will you want a helmet, you may want a warm hat, sunglasses, and certainly your masks. Hands, glove and hand sanitizer. Your feet, again, sturdy closed-toed shoes. We recommend a flashlight, a whistle, and disposable gloves. Now you may want to add a bottle or even a pouch of water, some snacks, and your critical medications. Cash. Here's where you want to start putting in some small bills and coins. A cell phone charger and a power bank. Your list of emergency numbers and compass. A poncho. And a copy of your family plan. Think about what specific additional items you may want to put in your 1 or 2 day bag. Here's your first scenario and our first breakout session. A reminder of how this works. We'll break into smaller groups for a short breakout session, about 3 to 4 minutes, to give you some time to share your ideas with your group. When we all come back together, Karen may call on 1 or 2 representatives to share your ideas. After you return from the breakout room, feel free to add your ideas into the chat box. Here's the question. What do you need to get home from work, your gym, church, or school? Take a moment to think about where you spend most of your time away from home. What kinds of hazards or conditions might you run into to get home? Closed roads, collapsed bridges, you work across the river. What would you need if you're required to stay at work? What would you want in a 1 to 2 day pack beyond the minimum? You may want to take a photo of the next slide for reference. Here's a couple of our ideas. When you get back from the break room.
Okay, here you go. Looks like everybody has come back. Raise your hand if you would like to, if you're a group leader and you'd like to share what your group came up with. Okay, Annie Migasi, is that how you say your name? Go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us what your group talked about.
Forgot about unmute. Okay. So we had a few good suggestions, some that I never thought of. One would be a paper map. If roads are blocked or your cars, you can't drive in your car, it'd be nice to have a paper map. Another person suggested binoculars if they wanted to look at a distance to see if the bridges are down or not. You could look at it. I thought that was a great idea. I never thought of that. And then what I never heard of before was to download on your phone a app called Maps.me, and it would work. It's a GPS and it'll work even if the phone systems are down. So I'd never heard of that. It's a GPS thing that I probably need to learn more about.
Is it maps.me?
Let's see. I can't remember who suggested that. That was the guy in our group.
I'm sorry, we can look it up.
Okay, I think it was Richard that suggested it. That's my guess. But anyway, I thought that was a unusual thing I never heard of before, and that's a great thing. But you have to download the map before the disaster occurs.
Okay.
So it's on your phone.
Okay.
Thanks, that's awesome. I see Mark Tilson. Would you like to share? It looks like you have your hand up.
Well, the main thing that we came up with was one of those little multifunction tools, that has everything on it, 14 different functions.
Leatherman tool,
Excuse me?
the Leatherman tool.
Yeah, like a Leatherman tool or a similar kind of a thing. Yeah, that could be very, very handy. That was the main thing we came up with, and the other novel idea we came up with in the amount of time we had.
Awesome. How about Cynthia? You have your hand up. One more person.
Hi. Someone mentioned a life straw, the little, water filter straw things. We also had an idea for you can get foldable Mylar shock blankets, like the shiny silver shock blankets. You can get those that are folded up. Those might be handy to have on hand, or a poncho, like one of those foldable plastic ponchos. And someone else said to make sure they had their sunscreen in their hat with them all the time.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, sunscreen for sure. All right, well, great. Thank you for your wonderful ideas. And I'm going to turn it back to Barbara.
Thanks, everybody. These are great ideas. And if you are called on, representatives, if you can put your ideas into the chat box, then we will collect these and share them later. Remember, you want to keep this 1 to 2 day bag with you anytime you're away from home. Let's talk now about where and how to store your go bags. Obtaining your emergency supplies is a good first step in getting prepared, but throwing an unorganized pile of survival gear into a closet will do little to help you in the event of a disaster. For accessibility, choose a storage location close to an outside exit along your evacuation route. When disaster strikes, you need to be able to grab your bag on the way out. Being smart about storing your supplies will help protect them, preserve them, and make them accessing them safe and easy. Organize your go bags by person and let everyone know where their go bags are located. If old enough to carry one or wear one, each person should have their own backpack. Keep your emergency supplies for infants and pets in their own dedicated duffel bag. Keeping an inventory of your emergency supplies is important. Keep an up-to-date list of all the items in your emergency kit. When disaster strikes, having a list of what will remind you of what you have without needing to rummage through everything. Change out seasonal clothes. Around April and October is usually when our weather changes for upcoming temperatures and conditions. You can also take an additional step of adding the expiration date of each item. This makes identifying expired items much easier. An added benefit is writing everything down. You can then share your list with other friends and your family members. It will help them understand what they might need in their go bag. Most emergency kits have a 5-year shelf life. However, some items may have a shorter life expectancy. Some items might degrade well in advance of their shelf life. Inspect the contents of your emergency kit every 6 months. How about daylight savings time changes? Visually inspect each item in your emergency kit. Do your clothes still fit? Have items suffered damage? Did you find duplicates? Replace expired items. Make sure to check your first aid kit, emergency food and water, batteries, and your medications. Recharge your power banks and solar banks. Replace outdated documents with updated versions. Insurance policies and medical information and other documents change frequently. So make sure that your documents stored in your emergency kit are up to date. Take a moment to reevaluate your preparation needs and add or remove items as necessary. Changes in the number and ages of your family members, the number of cars, the availability of new emergency preparedness products and technology could all impact the types of items that you need to keep in your kits. Let's talk about purchasing a bag. There are many choices for go bags to purchase now available. These can provide the basics, and then you need to customize them for your own needs. Joining us this evening is a young local vendor of go bags, Alex from packsnorthwest.com, to tell you what he has to offer. Alex is available during the question and answer section at the end of presentation to answer your questions. If you've attended some of the Quake Up events over the last several years, you may have met Alex there. His website is on the screen and he will add it to the chat box. Next, I'll speak more about a more complex go bag, evacuation, 3 days to 2 weeks. Remember last year's wildfires? Nearly 200 people had to evacuate with sometimes only a 5-minute warning. What would you need to evacuate your home for a longer period of time? Now days, weeks, even a month or more. What can't you live without? Remember, a complete list is available on the Quake Up website. But here's our minimum list. Start with your go bag. Remember, these components include protection for your head, hands, feet, flashlight, whistle, chargers, masks, water, snacks, critical medications, money, and critical documents. Now, I want you to think of a longer period of time, and you may want to add extra clothing, a hoodie, jacket, poncho, maybe a small roll of toilet paper, small bottles of personal hygiene, a mini first aid kit, and be sure to put your name on your bag. Here's some ideas for your car. Here's a minimum list to always keep in it. Get in the habit of keeping your tank a half full. The reality is, Portland gets 2 days supply of gasoline. It's stored on the northwest part of Portland on fill land. This land will probably liquefy. Even then, the gasoline that is stored there will be saved for our emergency responders. So, extra clothes, colored flag, empty gas can, jumper cables, an ice scraper, shovel, tire jack, basic tools, including wrench, pliers, and a screwdriver, and maybe even a small fire extinguisher and flares. Let's go to our next scenario, evacuation. What would you need to take to a shelter or a friend's home for 2 weeks? Imagine one of these situations. There's a wildfire. It's 5 miles away. You've been given 5 minutes to get out of your house. Secondly, your home has sustained substantial damage in a windstorm. You have no electricity. Third, you live near a common flood zone and rains have made your home uninhabitable. Karen, would you get ready to go to our next breakout room? Now, assume you have your go bag. What else would you want? You see some of the additional items that we've thought of. Again, additional lists are on QuakeSite website for seniors, disabled, and special needs. Now, I want you to think, what would you need or want to survive out of your home for 3 days to 2 weeks? What can't you live without? Let's go to the breakout room.
All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, everyone. Looks like everyone's just about back. If you are a group leader and would like to share your what happened in your group, please raise your hand. It looks like Rhonda would like to share. So Rhonda, please unmute yourself and share.
It's Rona, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. One of the great things I heard was earplugs. If you're going to be around a lot of people, earplugs and a deck of cards.
Oh, that's great.
Great idea.
All right. How about Becky Haas?
We had deck of cards as well. The other thing would be, and this is going to take preparation, but have a thumb drive with an inventory or photos of the valuables in your house. So you have that for insurance purposes. So create an inventory of your household goods and valuables, as well as pictures of all your, or copies of all your insurance documents and other documents. Have that on a thumb drive. And also a Kindle. So if you have a Kindle, so that you have things to read. And if there's children, make sure that there's some activity, whether it's workbooks or some simple games for them to help them keep occupied, whether it's a tube of tennis balls.
Awesome ideas. Okay. How
Great.
about Alex?
Yeah, our group said similar things, like personal effects and entertainment things. And we thought, even though you're going to your friend's house, it'd be important to have like a sleeping bag or a warm blanket. And I know that's on the list over there, but also like some sort of little shelter, so that if it takes a couple days to get to your friend's house, something to take cover under.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, Barbara, I'm turning it back to you. Thank you. And for those of you who didn't share out aloud, please type in your ideas in the chat.
Now let's talk about what we all hope for, that our home is safe and we're able to shelter at home. Yes, you might be able to stay in your home, but there's no electricity or water, possibly no gas, no sanitation, cooking, or heat. Some of us just went through this in the Tualatin area, being without electricity for 7 days to 2 weeks. This isn't just for 1 or 2 days. It could be for weeks or months. Think of our recent February ice storm, the August 2020 fires, the 1996 Metro floods, and the 2011 Christchurch in New Zealand earthquake. You will want to prepare for 2 to 4 weeks ready home emergency kit. This is a lot to put together. We get that. In the Get Prepared workbook, we have included a calendar of recommended purchases and activities to spread over time. It's broken out month to month to help you not be overwhelmed for time or budgets while getting prepared. Again, the question is, what can't you live without? We may not be able to go to or find anything left in the store. Remember early COVID? The basic components are water, sanitation, pee and poo buckets and supplies, food and clothing, both short and long-term storage, non-perishable foods. This is going to be covered in our next presentation, April 21st. Hygiene supplies, medications, pharmacies, hospitals may all be closed. You need to work with your doctors to start building a 3 to 4 week stash of prescription medications that you depend upon. Tools, documents. An extended list is available on the Quake Up website that I've put, and a full presentation will be in September. Store documents in a watertight baggie. Add your critical passwords. Be sure to have current pictures of each family member and your pets. Entertainment, non-electrical. Special equipment if you need. This is going to be our last scenario. Here I ask you to think about different life situations. Assume major damage throughout the metro area, but you can stay in your home. What is your particular situation? Are you a disabled senior? Do you live in an apartment or condo? Maybe you have a 6 and a 10-year-old. Do you have a new baby? Take 30 seconds. Please type some of your ideas or questions you have into your chat box at the bottom of your screen that would benefit other people. Take a few minutes to do that.
One size up diapers. Camping and propane canisters and camp stove to have warm food. That's a really good idea. Dry foods. What do you need? Not what you don't need, or not what you want. That's good. Months worth of prescriptions. What is the safest place to store things? I guess we'll talk about that in the Q&A section. Having a clear family plan. A large roll of vinyl to seal things with. Lots of great ideas. Keep propane tanks with barbecue full. Really good idea. Butter or oil to cook with. All right, Barbara.
The photo in this slide shows a very efficient use of space in a garage using a 5-shelf vertical system. Store your supplies in a cool, dry location and avoid places with large temperature fluctuations. Use tightly closed plastic or metal containers, even a clean garbage can, tubs with lids, even roller luggage. Store your foods away from a refrigerator exhaust. Heat causes many foods to spoil quickly. Store food away from petroleum products, such as gasoline, oil, paints, and solvents. Some food products absorb their smell. Replace expired items. Recharge your power banks or solar chargers. Replace outdated documents. Reevaluate your needs. Update your inventory and expiration dates. Share your list with family and friends. So here's an idea. How about a family weekend in-home camp trial? No water except to flush your toilets, no electricity, no electronics use, and set your thermostat to 58 degrees. Your neighborhood is your state park. Some questions you ask yourself. How would you fare? How and what would you cook? How would you stay warm? What will be your entertainment? What do you need to rethink? On a new topic, one of our most critical messages, start saving water. The formula is 1 gallon per person per day for now 2 to 3 weeks or even more. Currently, the average family uses 80 to 100 gallons per day. Wow. That includes drinking, sanitation, washing dishes, and clothes, and cooking, and showers. But here's the deal. 65 miles of main water line from Bull Round will take inspection, and it's going to take days to weeks. The fire hydrants are going to be shut off. Purchase plastic bottles. They're expensive. They last almost indefinitely. And don't worry about if it goes past your expiration date. It may have a slightly different taste. You can do tap water. We've got great water here. However, do not store water in milk jugs. They are full of bacteria that cannot be washed out. So use plastic soda or tonic bottles, add a little bit of bleach, add the water, rinse it, let it dry. Fill it with tap water all the way to the top, then date and change that bottle every 6 months. But don't throw it out. Don't just waste it. Water your plants, fill the bird bath, wash your car. They also buy or offer big 5 gallons, what they call squares. They're water protected plastic. The deal is they weigh 40 pounds when they're full. So obviously this is going to be used for home only. Infants and pets, remember, they need extra water yet. Where are your additional water sources? Your toilet tank and ice cubes. Additional filtering would be required for rain, ponds, and river water. We don't recommend pools or hot tubs because of the concentrated chemicals. You can't filter it well enough. You'll want to have a prepared water system to purify water. We have filters available to purchase at cost. They're $30. Send Karen a note if you're interested in doing that. We're also looking at doing that later in the year. And remember that Bill did a whole water presentation just a couple months ago, and you can refer to that on the Quake Up website. So in summary, we've covered 4 different kits to assemble: your underbed kit, the 1 to 2 day bag, evacuation, which includes your go bag, shelter, and home. And the suggested steps are: organize your supplies, assemble by person, inventory, and inspect your supplies every 6 months. Store water in multiple locations. Store your go bags on an exit route. Store shelter in place supplies safely. It looks like a lot, and I get that. Just do a little bit at a time, as we've mentioned. Break it down, involve the kids, and do make it a priority. The Cedar Hills Neighborhood Ready workbook has a great set of resources. You can contact Cedar Hills Ready. You'll see the URL there. It includes forms, checkoff sheets, inserts, including help and okay, pee and poo labels, and the calendar of recommended steps to help you not be overwhelmed while getting prepared. Remember, knowledge means confidence, and planning plus preparedness means resilience. Thank you so much for your attention and your great ideas. I hope you will share this with your family and friends. Karen, I give it back to you for our final collection of additional suggested items.
Thank you. Actually, we're gonna, one last thing I wanted to tell you about. Just recently on March 11th, Oregonians can now sign up for the Shake Alert powered earthquake early warning system. That'll give you like about a minute of warning in case an earthquake happens. It's really awesome. That'll give you enough time to possibly, secure yourself or put that pillow over your face or whatever. And you can do that by just turning on the notifications on your phone, which is shown here, or you can get a couple of apps. There is the Quake Alert USA app or My Shake. The next thing, we're going to wrap it up. So we've done a lot today. And before you go to Q&A, I just wanted to let you know on April 21st is our next meeting. And as I mentioned before, it's emergency food and supplies and cooking. We're seeing an increase in emergencies that require sheltering in place. And Maureen Quinn Loris, an educator from Oregon State University Extension Service, is going to speak to us about preparing food and supplies for a disaster. So that, and I've got the URL right there. You can sign up right away if you'd like to join us for that. Stan.
Someone brought up liquefaction. Any point in being prepared? It's a good question. The answer is still yes, because you don't know where you're going to be and how that's going to turn out. So, well, one was suggestions and consideration of elementary school age children and pets. They too, when they go to school, they need to have a go bag so they can get back home or wait until they can be picked up. Pets are always an issue. You need to have carriers for each and every one of them, along with food and water.
We also have, I think Barbara put together a list specifically for pets, and that's out on the Quake Up website.
Yeah, it's very extensive and is very helpful. Someone's asking specifically about their dog, and it's the same thing. They need to be in a carrier, cage of some sort, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and actually that's really important because if you end up having to take your pet to a shelter, they need to have a carrier.
Water storage. You also have water heaters. Don't forget your water heater. If it's strapped down and you can learn how to access it also on Quake Up. And there are links to how to manage that. How much water is needed has been addressed. At least it's a minimum of 1 gallon per day.
So earlier I saw a question about the small crowbar, and there is a small crowbar over at Harbor Freight on Highway 99, kind of toward King City. And I think it was like $5, and it's probably maybe 10 inches long, maybe 12 inches long, very lightweight. But if your door's jammed, that would be an important one.
Barbara, there's also Harbor Freight on Parkway and Cedar Hills.
And,
Okay.
So
And
they
Alex-
probably have it too.
and Alex is saying that Dollar Tree even has a pretty good one for $1.
Wow. There was another question about the 5-gallon buckets. I saw some on sale at Fred Meyer. The problem is I don't know that they had lids. And the lid, ironically, the lids are almost the same price as the bucket. Of course, there's the Home Depot bucket, and I think they do have lids as well.
Winco has the white buckets, food grade buckets, as well as the lids, and it's about $7, $8 for both of them.
You can actually also get them at Firehouse Subs for $2. And they come with the lid, and they're pickle buckets, so they're food grade. It was an awesome tip. We got a whole bunch. It's like a sandwich shop that's around Beaverton. There's a couple of them.
Restaurants, yeah,
Mhm.
lots of restaurants will have these because this is where they get their food all the time in these, and they're basically just tossing them out. Very good suggestion.
Well, the good thing about Firehouse too is they donate some of their profits to fire first responders. So, which is goes right back into the community.
Probably all the $2.
Yeah.
Trish, I think it was Trish asked if bleach degrades the plastic containers. And the answer to that is no, but bleach itself will degrade over time, and you're going to want to replace it at least every 6 months, but it won't hurt the plastic.
Any other questions, or should we have Alex speak?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alex, how do I buy a go bag?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. So yeah, I'm Alex. I'm a 16-year-old at Beaverton High School. I started PAX Northwest, which is a disaster preparedness company, because in 8th grade I did a research project on earthquake preparedness in the Pacific Northwest, and so based on that interest, I decided to help my family get prepared, and now other people get prepared by providing already put together disaster preparedness kits, whether it be a go bag or a home kit for up to 7 days, all put together. There's different categories of supplies like tools, water, food, communication devices. And on my website, which I can put again in the chat, is paxnorthwest.com. It has a layout of everything that's in the kits and a little bit more about my company. So if you guys are interested, check that out. I'd love to get you guys prepared.
Great, thank you.
All right. Any final questions?
Yes, when is the earthquake scheduled for?
I can't answer that for you. All right. If there are no more questions, I think we are done. Thank you, everybody. And hope to see you at the next meeting.
Thank you for coming, everybody.